So far, year to date, we've closed 60 transactions, and I have 25 pending.
Michael Ann Byerly, Tampa, Florida, and I'm a MAPS agent coach, bold coach, and an agent a few hours a week.
Great. And what's your, back in Pennsylvania, what was your production?
200 plus transactions a year.
Great. So Gene?
Gene Arong, Austin, Texas, Lake Travis Market Center. And last year did right at 100 transactions, 33 million in production. In 2 more days will be my sweet 16 years in business.
Great. Dave?
Dave Norbert from San Diego, California. Been in the business in my 21st year, and we'll close over 100 transactions this year.
Perfect. So Jeff, let's start with you. What's your #1 source of lead generation? What do you work hardest on in your lead generation?
By far, I try to do everything I can to get every single expired in my marketplace.
Every single expired?
Every single expired. 70% of my transactions are expired.
Perfect. John, how about you?
Expired listings.
Expired in what?
Expireds. I'm calling expireds every day. We'll have anywhere from 100 to 150 expired listings in our market on a monthly basis. Calling those every day. 65+% of my active listing inventory comes from calling expireds.
Perfect. Michael Ann?
It started as expireds, and then the expired started dwindling, so now it's back to for sale by owners and affiliates and past clients and current clients.
Great. Gene, how about you?
It's definitely Sphere, and since I started the Bold class, I've definitely jumped into expireds.
Great. Dave?
I started out 21 years ago doing nothing but for sale by owners, and have called it for sale by owners expireds. Now most of my business comes from my center of influence.
Perfect. Great. So tell me a little bit about, Dave, let's start with you. Tell me about your schedule. How do you block out the time? Because Gary said, what do we have to do every day in lead generation? We have to what? Time block it. So Dave, how do you time block it?
I get to the office at about 7:40. I do a little preparatory work from 8 to 11:30. I do my lead generation. I have lunch. I have listing appointments at 2 and 4, and I go home at 5.
Great. So when you say do a little bit before, what do you do before you start lead generating?
I make sure everything's off my prospecting area. I just make sure who I'm going to call, and I say my affirmations, and a little 5 minutes of quiet time just to rest my mind, and then start it.
Do you ever check your email before you start?
I don't know how to do email hardly.
Do you happen to check your voicemails at all before you start?
I don't answer the phone or see any messages or hear anything anymore.
Great. Perfect. So Gene, how about you? How do you time block it out?
Basically, my day starts around 7 after I get in from the gym. And then I'll knock off a few things, some paperwork, and then Abigail, my assistant, comes in at 8. She prints out my schedule, prints out my calls for the day. At 8:30, I script for 15 minutes, and then with another agent. And then we do our affirmations. We both have affirmations. And then at 9 o'clock, I get started from 9 to 11, and then do follow-ups after that.
Great. Michael Ann, on the day you do lead generate.
Well, what's interesting is because I did lead generate every day, 40 contacts per day, I don't have to do that anymore.
Right. Great. So you do some lead generation though?
I try to do 1 day of lead generation to set up the week of appointments.
Great. What do you do with your coaching clients? What is your recommendation for them, Michael Ann, in lead generation?
It's not an option if that's what you mean.
Right. Okay. What do you recommend they do? How do you recommend them setting up their day?
Same as Dave's, absolutely. The night before, and because we all know your day starts the night before, and then they are absolutely scheduling everything from the time they get up, affirmations, business plan review or goals review, gratitude journal, whatever they're doing in the morning. Then they're getting to the role play, and then right on the phone.
Great. So tell them about the night before. What do you mean your day starts the night before?
Well, I just don't know how powerful you could be if you're still up at 2 a.m.
Right. Okay. So the big thing in there is, if you're going to lead generate and you're going to do certain things, like Gary talks about, have your morning of energy before the day starts, and you're going to get up at 5:30, that is all hinged upon what you eat for dinner and what time you go to bed. Because if you eat late, have a couple of glasses of wine, your morning is not going to start the way you want it to. I guarantee you that. So your day does start the night before. John, what's your schedule like?
I'm in the office every day between 7 and 7:30, unless it's the first day of the month. That's a big expired day. So one of the things that I do is I get in the office on the first of the month between 5 and 5:30, pull all the expired so that I'm on the phone by 7:30, shooting for 7 o'clock, but typically the first call is at 7:30 a.m. The rest of the month I'm in the office between 7 and 7:30, on the phone by 8 o'clock, and I'll generally make anywhere from 50 to 60 calls between 8 and 11, and I do that 6 days a week.
Okay, 6 days a week.
Well, sometimes 7 days a week. If I haven't hit my numbers for the week, I'll come in on the 7th day as well.
Great. So your accountability is I hit my numbers or I work on Sunday.
It's just, you have to do it.
Great. So what happens when you call somebody at 7:30?
Well, one of the first calls I made at 7:30 from Palm Harbor, Florida was to a seller who lived in Denver, Colorado. And it was 5:30 there. You know, one of the things I realized is people answer the phone early in the morning. They're home. They're not always happy that I called, but they answer the phone. And I'm not really worried about whether they're happy or not. I'm looking for the opportunity to get in the door. I can get over an unhappy caller on the other end, and I'm just looking to get in the door. That seller in Denver, Colorado, I listed their home, priced it at $200,000, sold in less than 30 days, and she referred a $1 million buyer to me.
Great. So she didn't mind you calling at 7:30.
Well, she minded at first, but we're friends now.
Good. Perfect. Jeff, how about you? Tell us a little
actually,
bit about your lead generation.
I want to just finish up this point. At the end of the day, motivated prospects love motivated agents. So if you're calling at 7:30, 7:45, you're going to get the ones that don't want you calling them. But guess what? Those are the ones you don't want to have as listings. The one that appreciates your calls is probably the listing that you want to have because they'll take your advice.
Perfect.
But for my schedule, I'm in the office at 7:15, just preparing from 7:15 to 7:30. 7:30 to 7:45, I have an accountability with my team, and then 7:45 to 7:55 is role playing, and then 7:55 to 10 o'clock is prospecting.
Good. Perfect. So let's talk about this aspect. Gene, start with you. How do you handle the repetitious boredom of every day being on the phone? Because that's one of the things that we all face. How do you handle the repetitious boredom?
Well, for 15 years in real estate, I didn't do it. So until I got into Bold and really started being required or asked to do 20 plus contacts a day, what I found out was is when I started doing it, I started getting the referrals, I started setting more appointments, was that when I woke up in the morning, I was more energized because my day was actually structured. It was all laid out. And before, I would just show up, check email, do this, respond to this, you know, maybe have a marketing lead come in here or an internet lead. And when I got into serious lead generation every day, it was just amazing, and it just energized me. So it's never boring. So it's something I look forward to.
Great. So it's never boring because it's energizing, and we know there's a payday at the end of the time.
Big time.
Great. Dave, how long have you been lead generating 5 days a week?
21 years.
21 years. How do you fight the repetitious boredom?
I play games. Meaning that some days when I don't feel like doing it, I'll start with the people I know already love me, and so I'll call them first, or sometimes I'll take my best lead and put it at the bottom of the pile, and if I call the rest of the people, I have to get to that one. And sometimes I'll just call a accountability partner and say, give me a yip yip hurrah, but no matter what, it's just got to be done every day.
Great. What happens on the days you don't want to do it?
It's my job. I mean, if you work at a bank and you don't feel like going to work, you're not going to get paid if you don't go to work. And so whether you feel like it or not, you have to do it. And interesting, what I find is the days that I do it when I don't like to do it or don't feel like doing it, seems like the days that you get rewarded the most.
Great.